Making headlines this hour, President Dr. Mohamed Muiz extends a formal Independence Day greetings to Brazil, reaffirming his government's commitment to advancing shared priorities in sustainable development and climate action. The government initiates a broad public consultation campaign for its long-term national development strategy, Viluntari Raj 2045, translated as Resilient Maldives 2045. And Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim says at the inauguration of a specialized medical camp in Hulmale Phase 2 that the nation's health goals are unattainable without the full participation of its people. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdusattar. Now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz extends a formal Independence Day greetings to Brazil, reaffirming his government's commitment to advancing shared priorities in sustainable development and climate action. Addressing President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, the Brazilian government and its citizens, President Muiz conveyed the good wishes of the Maldivian people. His message underscored the importance of nurturing common goals for the mutual benefit of both nations and described the valued collaboration between the Maldives and Brazil. The statement also referenced the Maldives' expected participation in COP30, the United Nations Climate Summit to be held in Belém, Brazil. President Muiz expressed confidence that the bilateral relationship would continue to deepen through sustained engagement and cooperation. The president also extended personal best wishes for President Lula da Silva's health and well-being and for the continued peace and welfare of the Brazilian people. Diplomatic relations between the Maldives and Brazil were formally established on 27 September 1988. As the two nations approached the 40-year milestone of bilateral ties, President Muiz reiterated the Maldives' dedication to pursuing initiatives of mutual interest. Brazil's Independence Day, observed annually on 7th September, commemorates the country's declaration of independence from the United Kingdom of Portugal, Brazil, and Algarves, marking the establishment of Brazil as a sovereign state. The government initiates a broad public consultation campaign for its long-term national development strategy, Viluntari Raj 2045, translated as Resilient Maldives 2045. The plan, which sets out a legally binding framework for the country's progress over the next 2 decades, began with its first outreach session in Guradu, Kaf Atoll. Officials intend to visit every inhabited island to gather input from communities across the nation. Structured to guide national efforts from 2025 to 2045, the strategy highlights a sustainable resource use and aims to maximize benefits for both the country and its citizens. At its heart, in the commitment to building resilience, preparing the Maldives to navigate global economic shifts, technological change, and the intensifying effects of climate change. Hamid Sadiq, Managing Director of Nexia Maldives and Project Manager for Resilience Maldives 2045, described the island visits as a means of collecting insights from diverse sectors and gaining a direct understanding of local challenges. Sadiq, speaking to PSM News, noted that the initiative encourages active participation from institutions and residents, inviting them to share their visions for the future of their islands. The inaugural Kurimag Salla, translated as a future dialogue session in Guradu, brought together a wider range of stakeholders. Among the participants were representatives from Guradu School, the Maldives Police Service, the home for persons with special needs, the state electric company Stelco, and members of the general public. Officials from other institutions also took part. Discussions centered on the island's development over the next 20 years, with a particular attention to social relations and the local business climate. Community input, Sodiq stressed, is central to the plan's formula. Consultation teams will begin traveling on 13th September and remain committed to engaging both the general public and institutional stakeholders throughout the country. The state collects more than $142.8 million in airport taxes and fees as of August, a 46% increase over the same period last year.
The surge in revenue, detailed in the Ministry of Finance and Planning's latest weekly fiscal development report, is attributed to a combination of increased tourist arrivals and higher tax rates. According to the report, the government received a total of $142.8 million from Airport Development Fee (ADF) and departure tax as of 28 August this year. This marks a substantial increase from the $97.3 million collected during the same period the year prior. The revenue growth was driven by a rise in both individual tax categories, as the government collected $71.3 million in departure tax between 1st January and 28 August. This represents a 52.5% increase compared to the $48.4 million collected during the same period in the prior year. Similarly, the ADF brought in $71.3 million, a 51.5% increase over the $49.4 million received as of 28 August of the previous year. The ADF is levied on all passengers departing from Vellana International Airport (VIA), having been implemented on 1st May 2017. The updated tax figures reflect new rates that went into effect on 1st December last year. The specific charges vary depending on the passenger's class of travel and citizenship status. Certain individuals are exempt from these charges. Those with diplomatic immunity, transit passengers, and children under the age of 2 are exempt from the departure tax. Exemptions for the ADF include individuals with diplomatic immunity and direct transit passengers. The ministry's report shows that the surge in airport-related revenue is consistent with broader positive trends in the country's tourism sector. Increased tourist arrivals have directly contributed to the higher collections from airport taxes and fees. This financial data underscores the vital role of the aviation sector in supporting state revenue, driven by a post-pandemic rebound in travel and strategic adjustments to tax policies.
Ministry of Tourism and Environment's newly released figures shows the Maldives expanded its tourism infrastructure substantially in 2025, adding nearly 1,900 beds to its hospitality sector. The increase brings the nation's total tourist bed capacity to 65,143, reinforcing its status as a leading destination in the global travel market. This growth in tourism infrastructure, up from 63,248 beds at the close of last year, reflects a sustained investment across the country's accommodation landscape. Resorts continue to dominate, offering 43,247 beds, while guest houses provide 15,494. Safari vessels and hotels contribute 3,918 and 2,484 beds respectively. The expansion is mirrored in the number of operational establishments now serving visitors. A total of 1,254 facilities are currently open, comprising 174 resorts, 903 guest houses, 161 safari operations, and 16 hotels. The breadth of offerings underscores the sector's diversification and its capacity to absorb rising demand. Tourist arrivals have surged in parallel with these developments. As of the latest reporting period, the Maldives has welcomed 1,1 492,075 visitors, a 9.4% increase compared with the same time frame last year, while 1,363,333 arrivals were recorded. The government has set a target of 2.3 million arrivals by year's end. To reach that figure, the country must attract an additional 807,925 tourists over the remaining 120 days, requiring an average of 6,732 arrivals per day. With the high season approaching, officials express confidence that daily numbers will exceed this threshold. Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim says at the inauguration of a specialized medical camp in Hulumale Phase 2 that the nation's health goals are unattainable without the full participation of its people. Minister Nazim said, quote, "A healthy population is the greatest blessing a nation can possess," unquote, linking the country's productivity and progress directly to the physical well-being of its citizens. A robust and healthy society, he argued, lays the foundation for economic vitality and collective happiness. He challenged the prevailing notion that health initiatives are confined to hospitals and clinics, describing it as an outdated idea. Instead, he advocated for a broader understanding of public health, one that begins within families and communities and extends through every layer of society. He said the government cannot shoulder this responsibility alone. Minister Nazim introduced the concept of health beyond health as central to modern health discourse. He pointed to activities such as sports, tournaments, and fitness classes as essential components of a healthy society. Turning to policy, the minister highlighted the government's efforts to curb tobacco use. He stressed that enforcement depends on a shared commitment from vendors and consumers to individuals who smoke in restricted areas, and the authorities are tasked with oversight. Without this collective resolve, he warned, the nation's health objectives will remain out of reach. He noted medical camps like the one launched in Hulumale Phase 2 serve as vital platforms for public education and the promotion of preventive care. In closing, Minister Nazim reaffirmed that the success of national health policies hinges on cooperation across all sectors. He said such unity would lead to a healthier nation, a happier citizenry, and a more joyful community. Tesla's TSLA.O board proposes a $1 trillion compensation plan for CEO Elon Musk in what would be the largest corporate pay package in history, underscoring the hold Musk has over the car maker as it attempts to transform into an AI and robotics powerhouse.
The world's richest person has consistently said he needs more of a stake in the company, even as a legal battle over his 2018 pay package, then valued at a mere $56 billion, continues. The regulatory filing puts Musk on a different plane than other technology executives, saying that, quote, traditional compensation packages granted to executives at other companies were determined to not be appropriate for designing Mr. Musk's incentive compensation, unquote. The proposed plan would grant Musk up to 12% of Tesla's stock, worth about $1.3 trillion if the company hits its target market value of $8.6 trillion. The plan requires boosting Tesla's valuation nearly eightfold, or about $7.5 trillion over the next decade. If fully earned, the award would materially increase Musk's voting power from his roughly 13% stake, intensifying debate over governance and succession.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
Musk would receive no salary or cash bonus under the proposal, with the compensation is tied to stock awards that vest only if Tesla meets both market cap and operational targets, such as selling millions of EVs, deploying robotaxis, and delivering AI-powered humanoid robots. the company's shares were up about 2% in pre-market trading. Tesla's board earlier this year approved an interim compensation package for CEO Elon Musk worth about $29 billion in restricted stock, designed to keep him at the helm through at least 2030 as the company pivots to an AI-first strategy. Tesla moved its corporate base from Delaware to Texas in 2024 after a Delaware judge twice voided Musk's 2018 package. The appeal remains pending at the state Supreme Court.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi says in an ex-post, quote, deeply appreciate and fully reciprocate President Trump's sentiments and positive assessment of our ties, unquote.
Earlier on 5th September, Trump told reporters at the White House that he would always be friends with Narendra Modi, and India and the United States have a special relationship. Modi further said in his ex-post that India and the US have a very positive, forward-looking, comprehensive and global strategic partnership. This comes after President Trump's earlier post on his Truth Social account that read, quote, looks like we've lost India and Russia to deepest, darkest China. May they have a long and prosperous future together. And accompanied a picture of Modi, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and Chinese President Xi Jinping walking together.
I think Prime Minister Modi obviously attaches enormous importance to our partnership with the United States. And where President Trump is concerned, he's always had a very good personal equation with President Trump. But the point is, look, we are engaged, we remain engaged with the United States, and at this time, I can't say more than that, but that's really what I would say.
Xi hosted more than 20 leaders of non-Western countries for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO summit in the Chinese port city of Tianjin, including Russian President Vladimir Putin and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Putin and Modi were seen holding hands at the summit as they walked toward Xi before all three men stood side by side.
Newly appointed UK's Interior Minister Shabana Mahmood arrives at the Home Office.
British government had a reshuffle following the resignation of Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner. Prime Minister Keir Starmer brought in a new Deputy and Foreign and Interior Ministers on 5th September in a sweeping reshuffle intended to restore his authority after the resignation of his Deputy Angela Rayner. Starmer moved Foreign Minister David Lammy to become Deputy Prime Minister and replaced him with Interior Minister Yvette Cooper. She was in turn replaced by Justice Secretary Shabana Mahmood. All are loyal, trusted hands. Mahmood, 44, is seen as a safe pair of hands in Labour, a no-nonsense politician who has not been scared to take bold action while running the justice system.
U.S. men's national team coach Mauricio Pochettino says that Son Heung-min's arrival in Major League Soccer will lift the league's profile and level of play.
In June, Pochettino said players cannot pick and choose which games they will be available for. After forward Christian Pulisic skipped the CONCACAF Gold Cup but offered to play in a pair of friendlies. Pulisic, who played 50 games for AC Milan in the recently concluded season, said he would miss the Gold Cup to rest and recover, with former US stalwarts Landon Donovan and Alexi Lalas among those who criticized the decision. Pulisic told the CBS Sports podcast in June that he had asked to play in the friendlies against Turkey and Switzerland but was not involved in those matches because Pochettino wanted a consistent squad heading into the Gold Cup. The AC Milan winger said he did not understand the head coach's decision, while adding that those questioning his commitment to the national team were way out of line. On 5th September, Pochettino said his issue with Pulisic is in the past. Tottenham Hotspur's long-serving executive chairman Daniel Levy is stepping down from his role after nearly 25 years. Levy, known for his tough negotiating style, has often been a source of frustration for fans who blame him for failing to pay the wages that would deliver players capable of delivering Tottenham's first English top-flight title since 1961. Defender Sergio Dest, back from injury, told reporters that he was still getting stronger and stronger. On his red card, Dest said it was not good but that he learned from that mistake. The US face South Korea in a friendly as they continue preparations for the 2026 World Cup.
BMW takes the reps of its new Class iX3 electric sport utility vehicle, a key model for the German carmaker that could help it reclaim some of the market share lost in its largest market, China.
The model, which will enter production at the end of the year and go on sale in Europe in March 2026 at a price of $80,700, is one of BMW's great hopes in the global market for premium electric vehicles. It is the first in a sequence of next-generation EV launches under the carmaker's branding umbrella Neo Class, German for New Class.
Ladies and gentlemen, greater electric range, faster charging, a more immersive digital experience, the next level of sheer driving pleasure, and of course, a greater focus on sustainability. And all of this in an incredibly attractive package. The BMW iX3 is truly more BMW than ever. And this is just the beginning.
BMW CEO Oliver Zipse said at the showcase in Munich ahead of the official opening of the IAA Mobility Car Show that all BMW's models will benefit from the advances made in the new class regardless of the drive terrain. According to BMW, the iX3 has a range of more than 800 kilometers and is able to charge more than 370 kilometers worth of power within 10 minutes.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.